Hi YouTube, how you doing? There's an assisted opening knife that I got that it's the best assisted opening knife on the market. I used to go with the $12 ones off of eBay with no safety. I'll admit they never open in my pocket, but I'm gonna get into why this other one is better. The assisted opening works usually on all the other knives. That what makes it legal is this is actually a part of the blade, and when you're pushing the blade to open it, a spring assists you. An automatic means a button hits it and a spring that is already tightened releases it. And that's what makes these legal, the fact that you're already opening the blade like a folder, but a spring assists you. Smith & Wesson, in the description when you read them, these are called the Smith & Wesson Black Ops Magic. It doesn't say magic here, but magic assisted opening knives. They do have a safety, unlike the cheap ones. But if you look here, you'll see these bunch of patents, okay? These patents are modifications to the assisted opening that actually make it so that instead of when you push here and you feel the blade moving and then right about here, it'll start to spring up. And a lot of people, when they first start out, the blade you have to kind of get used to it, or the blade will only open a little bit with the cheap ones, and you have to get a nice fast finger movement to get it every time. Smith & Wesson, they tweaked it so that you don't have that problem. And for anybody who's ever opened an assisted opening knife, they're all like this and they're used to them. This, you simply, once, there is tension here, just a little bit, but once that moves in the slightest bit, you don't have to assist the blade in opening all the way to this point. It goes from shut to open. And the other thing too is when it opens and you feel the blade snap back here and lock, you feel a little vibration in your hands and the speed of it opening, I've never seen in another knife ever. For instance, you'll see this one opens a little slower. That's because the spring in it is doing all the work. With this, the spring, there's some type of mechanics in this that just make the spring, this is more like a button instead of using the blade, but it's still legal like all the assisted openings. They managed to keep the law aspect of this legal, and the advantages of a automatic knife is what you get out of this assisted opening. Now, other people prefer to flip it open this way. I am not that good at it, I'll admit, and I can barely do it, but this is the one I use, and it goes open like this. They come in different colors, like black, blue, cobalt. They run about $35 on Amazon, but the used ones are in pretty good condition when I buy them, and they all work the same, and they also make models that don't have this nice little flashy tone to them, and those still have a safety and they still have the mechanism, and those run about $20. Just a fantastic knife. The blade is 3.4 inches, and in my state, usually your palm is about 4 inches, and if the blade is shorter than your palm, you're good to go. The thing is, though, everybody's palm is different, so that isn't exactly the legal technicality for you to own a knife. You do actually have to measure it. And that being said, let me get a ruler for you. And as you can see from, let's see, the blade to the tip to the handle is about 3 1/4 inches long. So that's what you get with the the blade. The handle itself is 4 1/4 inches long. So the whole knife itself is about 7 1/2 inches. They make ones that are exactly like this, but serrated right here in the beginning of the blade, and that's another option you have in the other models. It comes in a box like this, Smith & Wesson. The only knife that ever has come close to the quality of this and has a nice snap opening to it, and it's almost like a button, but still it's kind of the same thing, is the Buck assisted opening knives. Now this is a small version that you can see through, but online they have bigger ones that are wood and a big blade, and they work just as well. It has a nice snap to it, as you can see. It's fast. You feel that vibration on the blade when you open it. It has a safety here, not quite as convenient as the Smith & Wesson safety, but down, up. And as you can see, I'm barely just pressing the button here and it opens, and it's just like the Smith & Wesson. But the Smith & Wesson just feels more secure, you know. This little notch here feels like your finger's going to slip off. It feels like the safety could go on and off easily. But the Buck knife is definitely a second place to the Smith & Wesson. And if you're a hardcore Buck knife collector, you might want to go with this instead of the Smith & Wesson if you're real dedicated to the brand. And this, your finger is on it, you know when it's going to open because you deactivate the safety, and deactivating the safety does not come within where the blade is going to open, so you can open it as soon as you just deactivate the safety. So what you're looking at here is about a $40 knife for the Buck knife, $35 knife for the Smith & Wesson, and the Buck knife is definitely smaller. And I like this brand of Buck knife. I forget exactly what the model number is, but what I like about it is the blade is just real thin, even on the thickest part of it. And I use it as a box opener when I work to open the tape on boxes. And when you open the tape on boxes, you usually use a razor blade. This blade is so small compared to the Smith & Wesson that my manager doesn't give me hell for bringing a knife in. And the blade is so thin compared to the Smith & Wesson. And here's where the blade is, that it's basically like a flashy, convenient box cutter that doubles as a knife, and it's razor sharp. You don't want to get your fingers caught in there. The $12 knife, it's definitely going to work for what you need it for, self-defense, cutting, but the screws, which are like Japanese in style, and you can't tighten them right, or if you tighten them too much, the blade won't come out, and when you leave them too loose, the whole screw will fall out. And I had that problem with another knife just like this of the same model, and they're 12 bucks. And the thing is, when they're 10 to 12 bucks and they break, it's like, what the hell, buy another one. And if you really want to, buy the same brand and say when it came it's broke and send it back for another one. But these I hand out to my friends to make sure they're safe and protected and all that. They're obviously of legal age of 18 to own it, and I just and I sell them too. You go to a farmer's market, they'll charge you like 35 bucks for this knife when you get it for 12 on eBay. And just to show you how much I love these knives, these Smith & Wessons, I'm gonna show you a little something. Let me just get to it here. I own 3 of them, all in red, and I have 3 more on the way to be shipped. And I have a nice little Smith & Wesson knife sharpener, diamond edge, and it's real thin. And first off, when these come, they're sharp enough that you really don't have to sharpen it, but those people who are like real anal about sharpening, they always sharpen their blades once they get them. This is real thin, and you can just move slowly across the edge to make sure you're not sharpening it wrong. And then I like to use my left hand with this, and I practiced so that I get the edge just as I want it. But there's really no need to sharpen these once you get them. They're already very, very sharp. Cut my finger a little bit with one of them when I first got them. So here's what you have. I could have just as easily got a buck knife, 2 buck knives and 2 Smith & Wessons, but these I'm getting all over the place. My friends love them. I'm selling them. I'm collecting them, and that's the end of that. The buck knife, about the same price. I could have gotten more of these, even a bigger one. These I'll always continue to have in a lot of inventory and stocks because they're 12 bucks. You hand them out and they last for a while and they're good to go. Oh, and by the way, even on eBay, these little knife sharpeners, 3 bucks, and that's a diamond edge. I've tried all different types of sharpeners, and you know what? They do get the knife sharp, but if you want like a razor edge, you get a real small diamond blade and just real meticulously, slowly, rub it across the edge with not too much pressure, and then go along the line, and then go on the other side. And for instance, this guy could probably, yeah, this is nowhere near as sharp as the Smith & Wessons. So this small diamond edge sharpener is great. And the thing is, I think this sharpener that says it's Smith & Wesson might be a knockoff saying it's Smith & Wesson, because I bought more of these sharpeners and they're exactly the same and they don't say Smith & Wesson on it. So they might be a counterfeit with the Smith & Wesson brand name, but either way, they're the best knife sharpeners I have ever had. Just little tweaks. What I like to do is I like to rub it across the edge at an angle, and you'll feel a little bit of a roughness on it, and I keep going until I get it smooth, and I do it very lightly, and whenever that roughness goes away and it just glides across, I go to the other side and even it out the same way. And these diamond sharpeners, they last forever. You can use them on 50 knives and they'll still be good to go for the most part. Yeah, that's nice and sharp now. You guys take care, and that's my review of the Smith & Wesson assisted opening knives, why they're legal, and basically the whole deal on them. You guys take care. See ya.